First of all, I think that Jessica and Mark did a great job selecting their best man and their maid of honor in Margot and Brian, and I think we should all give them a great round of applause. I also would like right now for just the wedding party to stand up if they would, because they're kind of scattered around. So if you're in the wedding party, please stand up. These people have been selected because of their character and relationship to Jess and Mark, and maybe I'm a little biased, but I will tell you, this is the most intelligent bridal party you have ever seen. And I am a little biased. They are definitely the best looking bridal party that you have ever seen. And I want to thank them for their participation in supporting Jessica and Mark today. Thank you guys. You can sit down. As I was coming up here, I'm thinking this is a daunting task, and the reason being is I will never get a second chance for my first speech at one of my kids' weddings. So that's kind of a daunting task, so I better get it right. So I better be good. I have no idea what I'm going to say. But what I will tell you is if you're sitting there and you're going to be a little bit disinterested in what I have to say, or if maybe you're sitting there and you're maybe conjuring up maybe a heckle, just remember one thing. Vince, stand up. This is Vince Stancora, a.k.a. Bobby Bacala from The Sopranos. Vince, keep an eye on these, everybody. If anything happens, take them down to the river, and you know the deal. All right? So, now that we set the rules, all kidding aside, I want to thank everybody for being here on this wonderful and glorious day. Obviously, it's a big day in the family life of the Hacketts and the Pulfords, who are now one family, and we couldn't be happier or prouder. This is actually a real blessing when we get together when we get to celebrate a day like this. This is obviously a big milestone in Jessica and Mark's life, and when we get to celebrate it with our closest friends and the family we love so much, this just becomes a huge blessing. And there's been probably 4 times that I've had a happy blessing in my life growing up. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, I have new contacts in, so if my eyes start tearing, it's probably because of my new contacts. But the three of the 4 blessings that I've had in my life, truly happy blessings, have been with the birth of my 3 children, Jessica, Matthias, and Margot. Now, Matt and Margot will have their day soon, hopefully. But this is a day that belongs to Jessica and Mark. And what's really neat about it is that we get to celebrate it. But this day would never occur, and none of you would be here if it wasn't for the 4th blessing in my life. Damn constant. 29 years ago, my lovely wife agreed to marry me. I don't know why, but I know all the reasons I married her, and they're far too long for me to recite right now, or we would be here all day. I don't know why she married me. The only thing I can think of is that she likes big things. Now get your minds out of the gutter. I'm talking about bank account, big cars, big house, big pocketbooks, none of which I could ever give her, so it must be true love. Well, there really isn't a day that doesn't go by that we tell each other we love each other, which is kind of neat, and I hope that you two are paying attention. So if I forgot today, honey, I love you. And a year and a day after I got married, my wife presented me with my first child, Jessica. And I remember the day vividly. I was at Putnam Community Hospital. And as the doctor took Jessica and put her on the warming tray, I remember thinking, oh my God, this is my life is changing. And I remember looking at her and thinking, she's all, she's a little bit blue. All these emotions are rushing through my body. Exhilaration, love, fear, scared. I could pit my stomach. I was helpless for the first time in my life. And the first time I was ever helpless since then. And I remember looking at her, and she was covered in old gooey. And I mean the gooey. And she was all wrinkly. And I remember thinking, God, I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life. And the weird thing that goes through your head at that moment is actually that, weird things. The first thing I thought about was I remember thinking, I hope she grows up to be as beautiful as her mother. And obviously, there's a good reason for that. I do not make a good-looking woman. There was that one time in '88 when I had women's clothes on and the cops came, but I'll leave out all the details. But the one thing I want to say is it was Timmy Wolf's fault. But I'm proud to say that the charges have been dropped, and I'm now allowed to travel through the state of New Jersey. The second thing, actually, getting back to the first thing, was obviously God blessed me because just look at Jess. She's turned out beautiful. So God smiled on her. The second thing I remember thinking, because we're an athletic family, I hope she's a good athlete. Again, these are weird thoughts as I'm watching this little baby. And with all the various state titles, national twirling championships, NCAA games, all those wonderful things, she far exceeded any of my expectations, and it's been a great joy and fun to watch her. And then I remember I said, I hope she has a good sense of humor, because humor in my family is big. We have a lot. You better be able to give it, you better be able to take it. And I'm glad to say that Jess enjoys laughter and likes, more importantly, to make others laugh. And then the fourth thing, the final thing that I remember thinking that day, was I hope she has a good head on her shoulders. I hope she can grow up and make good decisions. And after graduating magna cum laude and a lot of academic awards, she has done that. She's made a lot of good decisions. She's always made good decisions. And a few years ago, she came to Janice and I, and she said, I've been on a date once or twice with this guy that I'd like you to meet. And we impromptu met for the first time, Mark Pulford. So we went and met, and from day one, we hit it off. We hit it off really well. So he just melded right into our family. And over the years, I could see why she fell in love with him. He's a good-looking guy in a platonic way. He loves to have a good time. He has a great sense of humor. He's competitive. He loves sports. And he's a very bright guy. Okay. He was the salutatorian at his high school, graduated with honors from UConn. And after all, he has a doctorate before his name. So he's a very bright guy. So I knew that they were very similar, and it was fun to watch them together. They're even a little nerdy. They're down to even being a little nerdy. Okay? If you listen to them, most young couples fight over stupid things. They debate and challenge each other over things like Newton's law of relativity, Darwin's survival of the fittest theory, and who can calculate the area of an isosceles triangle faster. So they are a great mix. And they're a great mix in terms of spiritually, morally, ethically, and they're a great fit. And after we met Mark, we got to meet his parents. When we met his parents,